This week on the Grand Theory podcast.
Shying away from the struggle. Yeah, I'm young still. I don't want to live the next 40 to 60 years of my life regretting giving up my dream and these opportunities.
Well, I'm gonna shop my shop.
1% better. Putting that work. 1% better.
Did not work. Did not work. All right.
You already know.
We are back, Ori.
Yes, sir.
Back in the
The
car.
vibe, G.
We are back with another episode of the Grind Theory podcast.
Every day.
You know, how everybody feeling out there? I mean, we feeling pretty good. I mean, it's been a good week. I mean, I got to drop some big news, okay? It's not podcast related. But Russell Westbrook is now on the Lakers. I just put that out there. That's my guy. If you know me, you know that's my guy. I'm just happy about that, okay? It's a good week. It's a good week,
It's a good week, actually. It's been good.
It's been a good week.
Yes, man.
You know, or what do we always do? First things first before we jump into anything.
Get the big man up there, man.
We always thank the big man upstairs, you know. So first and foremost, we want to thank God for giving us the strength and the ability to come to be on the podcast in the first place.
Not easy, man.
You know, like it's been a good week, but it's also been a hard week, you know. So we're thankful for the protection,
Always.
for just keeping us so that we can even come to the podcast. We're thankful that our guest was able to get here safely.
Yeah.
Also, the people that are listening, we're happy that they're in good health, that they can listen to the podcast. You know,
Sure.
so first and foremost, we want to thank God.
Yeah. Then we gotta give a big shout out to the guys dropping the likes, the comments. Like, yo, I see
Yes.
that stuff, man.
Yes.
I
The
appreciate
likes,
it.
the comments, keep them coming. We really appreciate
Even the
those.
dislike too.
Even the dislikes too, because that's good. Because now we know at least we have a little bit of haters, you know.
Like,
So
bro,
it's good.
'cause I was looking at the analytics. I think it was yesterday or this morning, and then I saw dislike, and I was like, yo, what? I was like, yo, what the heck? I was like, yo, what do we say? I was like, yo, hey. If you don't like the video, still drop in the comments, what's wrong with it?
That's so we can improve, because
we
we're always trying to
appreciate
get
feedback,
1% better,
1%
you know.
better.
Always trying to get 1% better. So don't be afraid to drop the comments, giving us some
We're gonna come
feedback.
after you. Don't worry.
Don't worry,
Maybe
we won't
though.
find the IP address. But on a recap of last week's episode, we had Kerry on, and Kerry, man, he dropped so many gems,
Oh
like
my God.
so many gems, and there's a lot of stories you guys didn't get to hear because of just a time. But there's a lot of struggle stories that we will have Kerry on next time. Don't worry, have no
next
fear.
Episode,
Have no fear.
When next he comes in, nah.
Don't worry, we'll have a segment for that.
We're gonna open up a queue the history. When my mom was
When I was struggling. But you know what? Kerry, his theory of the grind was all about being able to adapt,
Yeah.
being able to adapt, to understand the vision, and being able to execute the plan.
always.
And he said that one of the biggest things he thinks the grind is about being able to adapt, the ability to adapt. If you can adapt to any situation that comes your way, then you're golden. Because whether it's positive, whether it's negative, being able to adapt and to
It's
bounce
key.
back
It's
and
key,
to
bro.
execute your plan. Because most of the time, your plan is never going to go like you planned
never,
it.
never does.
Like, never. So you have to be able to adjust and to keep going and
Always.
be able to persevere.
Always.
So that was a really big lesson that I took away from what Kerry said. So definitely love to have that.
Yeah.
But today we got a special guest. You know,
gonna be good.
special guest.
It's gonna be
I'm
good.
really excited. I'm almost a little bit nervous even too. But
As always,
it's good. It's excitement. You know.
Yo, for the past 3-4 episodes, my guy has been nervous every single.
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. It's good. It's like, you know what I read in a book? It said nervousness is like, you can take it as excitement. You know.
Cap.
So it's excitement.
Cap. It's like
But-
you're bucket at cap.
But so our guest today, he is from Saskatchewan originally.
Boom.
He came to Alberta when he was about 18, and he went to Red Deer and got his kinesiology diploma, where he then transferred to U of A, and he got his degree in physical education as well as nutrition. So he has a full, very, very in-depth knowledge of how the body works,
Oh shit.
the fuel you should be putting inside your body,
Oh shit.
and just activity, all about activity,
Yeah.
physical education, And he has also competed in 3 bodybuilding competitions.
Damn.
Not only that, but he is also a husband to a beautiful wife, Ashley, and a father to his kids, Reed, Peyton, and Raynor. And not only that,
Damn.
but we will be introducing the owner of Raising the Bar Training Facilities, Shaun Smears.
Gee. Yo, we
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
got a big dog.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
No problem. No problem. No
Got a
problem.
big dog, bro.
Big dog in the building. So now, Ori, what time is it?
Oh,
This is dissection time here now. This is when we're about to dissect. Every time we're gonna dissect, we're gonna put these shades on.
I didn't have to remind him. Guys, you see this?
See, I didn't. I was ready this
I
time.
didn't have to remind
I
him.
was ready. I was ready.
Nah, Scott, behind the scenes, I had to.
That's what. So very, very glad to have you on.
glad to be here.
Very, very happy. So, Shaun, you were born in Saskatchewan, and would you like? I would like you to tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up in Saskatchewan. It's obviously different from Alberta, so tell us a little bit about your earlier days and kind of what it was like.
Yeah, I mean, especially Edmonton. I'm from a very small town, under 350 people in northern Saskatchewan. So pretty much you knew everyone. There was literally nothing to do. So I basically, I lived on a farm. So you worked on the farm, you played sports, you went to school. That was pretty much it. If you didn't do those things, you got into a lot of trouble. That I was lucky. I played pretty much sports nonstop, from hockey to baseball to badminton to golf to anything I could get my hands on.
Everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kept me and my friends busy and out of trouble growing up. And yeah, it's a very simple life. Didn't need much, didn't have much. Moved out to Alberta. I didn't have a cell phone. Mom had to buy my first one because she wouldn't know whether I was living or dead. So she couldn't get a hold of me. It was just very simple. I really liked, like I said, being outdoors, sports, activities, things like that.
Nice.
It was great.
Okay.
Gee.
And so you said you played all these different sports. Did you have a favorite sport?
Hockey was my jam. Yeah,
Hockey,
absolutely.
okay,
Yeah,
hockey.
grew up playing hockey, lots of that, and kind of just, I guess, diversified in the summer with baseball. Got a little older. Got my cousin, born and raised Edmonton, brought out some golf clubs.
Okay.
Nice.
Got caught by the bug, it's been one of them that I've currently still play because you don't need 11, 12, 13 other guys to play
Exactly.
golf. So it's been one that stuck with me, luckily. But all growing up, it was always hockey.
Okay.
Nice.
Man, I was telling, we had another guest on, Kutsi, who also played hockey. And I was telling him that, like, I got so much respect for hockey players because that sport is so tough to me. You're in the cold, first of all, in the cold, in the rink. And then you're on skates, and these skates are sharp. Like, they're getting the puck. Some people are not wearing no face guard. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I have a lot of respect for those guys. A lot of respect for those. So that's really cool.
Hockey's taken a few teeth from me. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think almost every person that I know that's played hockey is missing a tooth just because from the puck or something, So that's I got a lot of respect, man.
Crazy
Because
sports.
yeah,
Seen
it's
it.
crazy sport. So then coming to Alberta now, and going to school for kinesiology and physical education. Was that something that you always wanted to do just from your background in sports as you grew up?
No, honestly, actually, there was no work back home. I mean, northern Saskatchewan, it was pulp and paper back when I was growing up. That industry pretty much died when I was kind of junior high or high school.
Okay.
Pretty much all the pulp mills and stuff kind of closed down. They started trying to go to like hemp and other things for paper. There wasn't much work, so you kind of had to move to bigger centers and stuff if you wanted to work. And looking our whole career council thing, I was pretty good at school. So sitting with career counselors, they're like, well, you're good at math. Like engineers make really good money. So I originally actually went to Red Deer for engineering my first year.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Immediately found out I did not want to do that as a living. We had to show up actually a week early. So we were the only people on campus just to see if our math was up to the level.
Damn.
Oh, wow.
Then the first day, our engineering prof was the dean of our faculty. He opened with, look to your left, look to your right, choose your friends wisely because 50% of you won't be here by next semester.
Fact.
Wow.
That exact word you just said, same thing. When I did engineering at Nate, they said the same stuff, and it's true.
Literally,
Really?
it was true.
True.
Yep.
Bro, it's
Yep.
true.
So yeah, so I did that year, and I knew, okay, like I'm not gonna continue this. And you know, a lot of my friends that were engineering would turn to alcohol or drugs or other things, stressing over tests and stuff like that. I found myself up in the gym. I didn't have a lot of experience with, you know, lifting weights at that point in time because there's no gym where I'm from. We're 350 people. Like, you know, at best we're, you know, lifting rocks and throwing around snowmobiles and stuff like that. But that was my de-stressor. And one day, you know, I just noticed the same guys up there laughing and joking and having fun. I'm like, what the hell do you guys do? You're always like, I'm stressed, like just trying to burn off some negative energy. They're like, oh, we're doing a project. I'm like, a project? What do you mean a project? Oh, yeah, we're in Kines. Like, we have to log all our stuff. It's weight training. I'm like, there's a class called weight training. And like, I immediately went down, started looking at like what you can do. And I just transferred. Next year, I went to work and came back in kinesiology and kind of started from there. So it was a sharp twist, but you know, it got me there, and I was already there, so I figured, you know, I liked the school and liked the you know, the environment and everything there, so I just changed, moved on, went to look at playing hockey, and then they canceled the men's team that year as well. So a bunch of us guys that were really into hockey, instead of doing a college team, we just made a men's rec team and kind of lit up the league there, and it was a good time. So that's where I met a lot of you know, my friends and buddies, and we spent half our time on the ice, half our time in the gym. It was a great start to it.
Okay, that's a nice little combination there. I like that. Actually, I didn't know that. That's cool. Engineering first, and then the switch. Did you? I find that it's interesting because you were saying that a lot of the other engineers and stuff like that, they turn to alcohol and to other things as a distressor, but you went to the gym, right? And it's not like you had any gym back home in Saskatchewan where you can train. So like, what kind of what drew you or triggered you to kind of to go there?
Well, I love sports, and I always knew, like, you know, out on the ice or out on the field, like, you know, it was when I was always truly my happiest. And, you know, there was never stress when you're out playing sports. It's literally, you can, you know, sun goes down and you're still trying to, like, somebody pull up a car, put on some lights, let's keep this going. And, you know, because I came from another province, I didn't know anybody. It quickly rooted myself into the gym. I could still get that feeling out of the weights and, you know, up in there, that I can just kind of, you know, get there, start lifting, all that stress just disappears. There's nothing else to think about other than don't get crushed by the bar. You know, you know, and that it just drew me to that. And, you know, there's alcoholism and other things in the family and stuff like that growing up that I know when you see that stuff that you don't want to turn to that route. It was already something that, you know, I was aware of and didn't want to go down there. I knew it wasn't obviously going to help me pass any tests or do anything better. That the best case scenario, I was going to have a hangover and still struggle the next day. So, you know, I tried to go the other route. And, you know, and luckily you know, I met the right people up there that got me along the right path to where I am now.
Okay, I like that. That actually, it reminds me of I think in Rich Dad or Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there's two
Two different dads,
right? But I don't know if it's Rich Dad Poor Dad, but there's another example where this one guy, his dad, right? His dad was like a jewel thief, right?
Yeah.
And he robbed this store, right? And he had two sons, right? He had two sons, and his two sons, they seen their dad go to jail, get caught, go to jail, and after, about like 10 years later, right? 10, 20 years later, they come back and they find the two sons. One of the sons, same place as his dad, robbing a store
So, yeah.
and going to going to jail. And they interview they asked him like, oh, why did you end up here? And he's like, man, look at the example that I saw. Like, what did you expect, right?
Yeah.
And then the other brother now, he like completely changed his life. He was like, I think a lawyer or something like really big and successful. And they asked him, why did you get to this position? And he was like, look at what I grew up and what I saw. What did you expect? And it's the same. They give the same exact answer, but they both responded to the same situation in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool that you responded to the situation that you were in a very, very different way, and as opposed to going down that road and going into fitness.
Yeah, you either emulate or you get kind of pulled away, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I do have a question though about the
Yeah.
engineering. So if you actually meant to go to the engineering route, what kind of engineer did you plan to be?
I wanted to do electrical, and that was one of the things that really drew me away, as I'm colorblind. It wasn't really even a thought process going into it that would be something that would obviously hinder that.
Well, no.
So I was in a chemistry class in college, and we were doing stoichiometry, and I kept failing, obviously, because I couldn't tell when the color of the beaker would change with the chemicals. And my prof's like, "What the like? Are you stupid?" Like, well, no, obviously mine doesn't work. He's like, "No, it changed." I'm like, "Well, I'm color. Like, what is it supposed to like really change or like just slightly?" And like, it's I've got a level of colorblind, and I'm not like black and white.
Yeah.
So like a lot of like the red greens and the blue purples and stuff like that, I don't see. And it was like some sort of red that turned to a green that I literally just could not see. But they picked that out, and they're like, "Oh, you obviously can't be an electrical engineer." So kind of that was a major like, all right, well, I'm not really enjoying this that much to start with. And one route I wanted to go was like electrical mechanical, and you have to deal with wiring. It kind of put the sharp brakes on that.
Yeah.
Huh.
So how like you found out about being colorblind at university then?
No, I was colorblind. I guess again, that's how not deep the career counseling and the things were going into it. It's like, you're great at math. Engineers are good at math. Go be an engineer. Like, you'll do awesome. You're a great student, right? It wasn't like, well, what type of engineer do you want to be? And it's because I didn't know. I was like, oh, that's a cool career path. Like, hell yeah, let's go do this.
Okay.
Little things, yeah.
Little things. That's good. So, you went from Red Deer now doing a kinesiology diploma, then you transferred to U of A, Alberta, to continue and actually go into your nutrition and your phys ed.
So when I was in college, my kinesiology diploma is fitness and health promotion, and then you kind of try and choose a major for your degree to transfer either to Red Deer or Calgary. I did athletic therapy classes thinking I wanted to be an athletic therapist. Again, after you see a couple ankles go straight sideways and a lot of stuff like that, it's like, again, is this what I want to be around day in and day out? Kind of really wasn't. I wasn't kind of drawn to that. I would rather be on the rebuilding side of things than kind of like and the performance side of things. So when I looked, there was a new degree that had never been offered, and it was a combined physical education, nutrition, and food science degree. My best friend at the time was a national champion powerlifter that had just switched to bodybuilding that would later on become a professional bodybuilder. That I became into bodybuilding very much with him because that's what we did. Then nutrition became like a crazy passion. Like, let's figure out how to grow. Let's figure out how to, get lean. I was a small guy when I started, like 160. I made it to 230 at my largest.
Wow.
I kind of got that hook on nutrition. So I went and did the combined degree. Kind of, I guess, stood out to me.
I'm gonna have to get some tips from you after this after this podcast.
That's trying to get big.
Yeah, I'm trying to get big. No, that's wow. Okay. Oh,
230. How long did that take you?
The 4 years.
That's for 4 years.
So I was in my diploma. I started at about 160. The last year, my friend and I, he competed the last year of our diploma, and he said, "All right, I'm planning to do another show. Do you want to compete with me? It's going to be the last year of our degree when we graduate." Hindsight 2020, probably not the best idea when you're doing practicals and and all these other things, but it was a great experience. But I'd already been trying to get big, so at that point in time I was about this size, about 185. That I had 2 more years to kind of go, and I pretty much spent about 2.5 hours a day in the gym in between classes, and basically insurmountable amounts of calories, about 7,000 calories a day I was pumping back. Basically got up to 228 and then dieted down. I wound up competing my first year I just missed middleweight. Again, I was doing my own diet, so middleweight cutoff's 176 on stage. I was 178, so I had to go against much bigger guys. Didn't fare so hot the first time, but definitely liked, my density and size that I had. Just missed the mark on conditioning the first time. But it was a great lesson.
So, what was the bodybuilding scene kind of like? Like, even for cutting down, like that's kind of like, I guess, like almost like how the fighters have to cut down their weights and stuff like that. Like, how were you able to, like, even eat enough? Because sometimes I think I'm eating so much, and it's like maybe 300 or 3,000 calories. It's not even near the 7,000. Like, were you just like,
well, I was really into a lot of the old school bodybuilders, Lee Priest and Ronnie Coleman and stuff like that.
That way, baby.
Absolutely, yeah, buddy. A lot of it, like the old school guys, were all about the dirty bulk, like just get your calories in. Like there's so many videos of Ronnie Coleman eating, fried chicken and French fries, and just to get the calories in. There's stories of Jay Cutler, his wife waking him up in the middle of the night just for him to go chug like 1,500 calorie shake so he wouldn't lose weight. And honestly, I was working at a supplement store when I moved to Edmonton to, number one, get supplement knowledge, meet people. But I made great friends with one of the reps, got great deals on the supplements. I was like the number one seller of his supplement, like in Western Canada. So he would literally slide me buckets of it, and I would take it because I was a great, reciprocal of any small guy coming into the store. They'd see me getting bigger week after week, month after month, and it was an easy sell because it's like, well, this is what I'm taking, and I'd literally be chugging it. But I'd do 2 of those shakes a day, which were 1,200 calories a piece. I'd eat like 6 pieces of bread, a pack of bacon. I'd eat like 2 chicken breasts. I was eating loads of rice. Back in that day, blizzards were dirt cheap. They're not like $9 a blizzard. They were like $3. So like an Oreo cookie blizzard was like 1,800, 2,000 calories. So like post workout, I'd roll over to DQ, crush out, and it worked really well because when you're training like crazy, and sometimes I'd train twice a day with different workout partners and stuff like that. Your body just needs calories. So like it's impossible to eat chicken breast and rice and kind of garner 7,000 calories. You gotta go a little down the dirty side to get those calories in.
Damn.
Okay. That's okay. That's good to know. So you competed 3 times in the bodybuilding. So what about the other 2 times that you competed?
Yeah. So after I graduated, I had met my now wife, Ashley, and she got accepted into a program that was in Red Deer. So I moved back to Red Deer. Again, with my other best friend from college that stayed down there, I started working with him. He owned a supplement store and tanning salon. And then I got a side job at another gym to personal train. Basically, we're all really into bodybuilding. I met a couple of guys out of the gym. My general manager was a national level bodybuilder, and another guy I met became my training partner. They were all real big boys that we just all started training together. The one had never competed before, so we said, hey, you know what? You're my training partner. I'll do the diet for you. Let's do this together this next spring. Competed. Did great that time. Looked awesome. Brought him in. He looked great. My other buddy that owned the tanning salon, he placed second in the show. I brought him in like absolutely phenomenal. And then the third time I just did it for fun. I was dieting my one training partner again. And he said, just come compete with me. Let's make it fun. I was in good shape, so I just did like 12 weeks of just a good kind of quick shot diet to get on stage with them. They had some rules on some of these shows where the coaches couldn't be backstage, so it guaranteed I'd be back there with them. And I just had a lot of fun with my third show in that sense. I had a lot of clients wanting to, kind of the middle-aged ladies wanting to see shirts off and a little stringy thing. So it was an opportunity. Like, yeah, okay, you gotta pay to play. It's, $80 a ticket. You could come see me on stage, right? But yeah, I competed, had fun, placed kind of high middle of the pack in that one. But yeah, it was just my time to just enjoy it that time, and it was great.
Okay. Actually, just like what I'm kind of realizing is that throughout kind of all the years in your life, you've been like you've been involved in physical activity and this kind of path anyway. So it's like you're just garnering more and more experience, from as a kid back in Saskatchewan, just playing lots of sports, is as phys ed, then coming and then going to Red Deer, doing kinesiology, then doing bodybuilding, doing dieting. Like, you're experiencing all these different things, and you're actually doing the experience on your body as well itself too. So that's really cool. I do have a question about the bodybuilding though. Because, okay, when they tan and they get like really orange or really, really tan?
Yeah.
Do they like just wash? Is it a spray tan where they just wash that off and it comes off? Or like, I really wanted to know.
Now, yes. Then I got this bottle. It is like a spray tan in a bottle. I actually had to get my girlfriend, now wife, to literally use a sink sponge to rub it on me. You'd have to let it dry. You go in and take a quick rinse without washing anything, like scrubbing. Let it air dry, and then see how dark you are, and then reapply like you're painting. It took, I think, 6 coats for me, and I was tanning at the time to be darker as a base. But yeah, that took weeks. It's a dye. It's a skin dye. So like it took weeks. I was like that. Where the new stuff, it's like like a good soap and a couple showers, and you're back to kind of norm. Where the first stuff, like, you look like an Oompa Loompa for close to a month. It was it's come a long way. Where at every show now they have a little tint where you step in and there's a professional that sprays you down to get you the right color. Where no, it was in a basement of where I was living, where she was little, as like a Glad Tupperware, like rubbing me down with like a garbage bag underneath so I didn't stain the carpets and stuff. And then you sleep in like old clothes so you don't stain your sheets and everything like that. But it's a
process.
It is a very much of a process. Like when I did last time I was on stage was 10 years ago. It's very mainstream now, like with the men's physique and the bikini, where anybody walks on that's just lean and you can do it. Where like I was like I said, up to 230, and even dieting down, like I was quite large. I was a small bodybuilder. I shouldn't have been on a stage as a bodybuilder. If there was men's physique, I would have did extremely well. But now it really has become so much more mainstream, and that's where you see all these advances in like spray tan and stuff like that, because so many people are doing it. Where it was definitely a back alley. Not a lot of people doing it when I was doing it still.
Okay. So then after now you've been finished, you're graduated, and you competed in these bodybuilding events. Now, kind of, where did your life kind of go after that? Like, what kind of action did you take?
I do have a question though, because you mentioned you brought her up a lot, your wife, like your girlfriend and our wife. Like, how did you guys actually meet? I'm curious.
Yeah, crazy story on that. So my wife is actually my younger cousin's best friend. So my cousin was my best man in my wedding. We're like brothers. He's 12 days younger than me, and will always be 12 days younger than me. I'm the older cousin. But he owned a house early on in Edmonton here, and he would always throw little house parties and stuff like that. And lucky for us single guys that were in there, his younger sister and older sister would often come and bring their friends along to have a good time. And I was at he had like a luau type party, and she was there, and it just kind of happened where it's
my man shot his shot.
Hey, he shot his shot. He's like Kobe.
Yeah. We were just hanging out in the hallway, and I went for it, and it turned out she was interested in me too. So It was great because it could have been really awkward doing that with your cousin's best friend.
Shoot
See,
your
guys,
shot,
shoot your
guys.
shot.
Shoot your shot.
See your shot. You never know.
You never know.
3 kids later, yeah.
3 kids later. Shoot your shot, man. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah. So kind of after those events and school, kind of what course of action did you kind of take after that?
Yeah, so like I said, after school, I got a job at a local gym here. I moved to Sherwood Park, and then my wife got accepted to school. So I actually lived in Sherwood Park for a total of like 12 days before winding up moving. And I was at the gym for a couple months, you know, in Edmonton. And then we moved to Red Deer. She spent 2 years doing her diploma there. I built you know, a lot of great relationships there. I got a job later on. Like the original one was at a public gym where I, you know, had to find clients and kind of go at it more on my own. The second one was at a private gym, very much where kind of what I do now. I was an employee, but I was kind of the first actual trainer hired on by them. And it was just, all we did was personal training. So I built a great, huge clientele there. Did really well. And then I knew my wife wanted to be back in Edmonton, and it was just sheer luck. My buddy that was the pro bodybuilder was managing a fitness company here. They no longer exist. It's called Fitness Source. And he reached out to me, like he did his combined degree in education. So he got offered a job for teaching, and he's like, my job's open. You need to come take it. It's the easiest job in the world. Like, come grab it. You're perfect. Like, I'll set you up with an interview. So I talked to the manager there, got the job, and then just hopped back up to Edmonton here.
Okay.
So yeah, that was kind of that full circle there, because she's born and raised Edmonton, and that's kind of where we knew she wanted to kind of wind up. And so it was our opportunity to not show up back unemployed and be searching for jobs and restarting.
Yeah.
And actually it was, you know, my goal was to own and operate a gym. After I'd kind of been in these few gyms, I realized kind of, you know, without ownership, personal training doesn't really pay well. It's got bad hours. You know, I was working at the private gym, kind of like a split shift. I'd train clients relatively early in the morning, have a break to eat, train myself, and then I'd go to like 10, 11 at night with clients. So it was like 9 till 11. Again, I made decent money, but looking long term, I knew, okay, ownership's kind of where I think I want to go. So this job allowed me to get like a lot of managerial experience, a lot of corporate experience that I thought would do me a lot of good. So it was that just that natural transition to really increase, I guess, my ROI on what I wanted for experience that I couldn't gain from classic education. And the only companies I'd worked with in employer management were all very small. There were like 5 or 6 of us at best in the company. There's not much managing. So when I went, you know, back up to Edmonton, at times I was managing 96 people.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Damn.
and most of them were high
That's a
school
lot,
to
though.
college age. So it was huge for me to really, you know, learn a lot about organization, projections, payroll, balancing budgets and stuff, you know, and meeting expectations of sales. So it was a big one.
Okay. That's actually very good that you had the opportunity. A question that I have is, what would you say is the hardest thing or the most important thing that you need to either remember or know when you're training a client, for the client, but also for yourself?
Yeah. Risk and reward. So there's always an argument, what's the best move out there? You know, like you'll go to magazine after magazine, you know, the squat's the king of lifts, deadlifts now is put up on such a great pedestal, and they're all fantastic movements. But when you go to every client, you do their initial assessment, you find out they've got, say, a previous broken back or no meniscus in their knee, or, you know, they're hypotensive, they have low blood pressure. You know, certain movements are now a high risk to reward. If I've got them dipping their head up and down doing deadlifts or, you know, back extensions and they pass out on me, it's, could be pretty terrible. Or they've got a bad back and I've got them heavily loaded under squats. It could have, what should be a great movement could have kind of terrible repercussions. So it's understanding there's no one fit all in a mold, that you got to look at each person as an individual. So often we look, okay, like the human anatomy is kind of the same across the board, but like each individual person over the course of their 20, 40, 50, 60 years of life, there's car accidents, there's sports accidents, there's life accidents, there's all these other things that they could suffer from, that is going to play a huge role in the exercises I choose, how often I use them, how heavy I go, and their goals even. Is it corrective exercise? Is it sport performance? You'll see like LeBron or like PK Subban have been criticized in their videos on their squat depth, but their sport performance. At no point in time in either basketball or hockey are you squatting below parallel for the for the sport. So it has no play through. Where if I'm an ex power lifter or a bodybuilder, they push that ass to grass, squat deep, and it has its role in full range of motion and developing that. But for so many of these athletes, it's got no crossover, that the risk of injury versus the reward of building strength, they're not in that range of motion ever. So they don't need to spend a lot of time training it. So again, depending on your aspect, it is figuring out what your client needs and what they're capable of, and not confusing the two of the things.
Okay. That's actually super important, I think, is because you have to see everyone as an individual, and then everyone is different. Like I'm going to be different from Ori, so the exercise that I'm going to use or that you might use from me is going to be completely different from Ori. And even when I was at your gym, a big thing you told me was about like functionality. What is the person going to do? If the person is an older person that just goes to clean their pool every day, they don't need to be lifting 1,000 pounds or squatting, because they're just lifting. They might just need corrective exercise or mobility just so they can clean their pool, So I think that's a really, really good point, because even for me, as a trainer, a lot of times you're like trying to get results for the client. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to do the craziest workout or the craziest exercises to make it, make the client happy or to make things work. But it's all about where the client's at, what they need, and making that work.
Absolutely.
So I do have a question though. It's kind of related to what you just said. So say for anyone out there trying to achieve like a fitness goal, like what advice, like how would you tell them like to start about it?
Well, determine your goal and then work backwards. Again, reverse engineer. Everything comes from, you got to know your end and then get real clarity on it. So many times when I go into that first initial consultation with the client, hey, what are we looking to do here? I want to lose weight. Okay, cool. So if I lose a pound in the next month for you, are you going to be happy? Well, no. Okay, so how much weight do you want to lose, right? In what amount of time? You want to lose 20 pounds in a year, in a week, in a month? Is this a 3-year thing? Clarity on your goal, and then you can reverse engineer. Again, if somebody wants to lose 20 pounds in a week, it's not healthy. We got to now redefine their goal. If they want to lose 20 pounds in a year, now we're talking more realistic. 20 pounds in 6 months for certain people is very realistic. So determining your goal is super, super crucial. And then why do you want that goal? Is it superficial? Like, did you just arbitrarily come up with 20 pounds? What is that going to mean to you? And this is why so many people don't actually reach the goal, is in the long run, it doesn't mean anything to them. So when they see the plate of cookies, instant gratification's there. It's like cookies will always taste good. But if you don't actually require the end goal of losing 20 pounds, if there's nothing crucial about getting there, the cookies win every time. So, one of the rock saying is, respect your goals. If you don't have the respect for it, you won't follow through. It's proper determining of where you want to go, reverse engineer what it takes to do it. Because like I said, the person that wants to lose 20 pounds in a week has a far different program than the person that wants to lose 20 pounds in a year. Because then we could determine how hard you have to diet, exercise, how much cardio you have to do, all those things determined by the goal and the length of time.
Okay, so from what you just said, I'm guessing you can apply the same mentality towards like achieving your personal goals.
100%. So like when I was in college, I essentially had a 10-year plan. It is kind of what I gave to myself to kind of own my own gym, be my own boss. And it pretty much played out. The last private gym I was at, they had promised they were looking to expand, and I was kind of the next on the docket to get my own gym to manage.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's perfect. That's kind of part of end goal, right? They talked about, ownership of the company. They would be doing like kind of WestJet, where managers would get ownership shares. So I'm like, all right, my 10-year goal, this is going great. It's all in line. And then they made some bad financial choices. They bought property in the wrong area on the gym before me. They wound up losing it. So they were going backwards, and instead of expanding, they were doing damage control. At that point in time, I recrunched my numbers knowing I still had my 10-year goal, and gave my notice and kind of built the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was, again, I reversed engineered. I felt like I had everything in place to do it, and just one door closed, the other one kind of opened.
So like being in that situation, like what was your mindset at? Like, cause like it's not easy for someone to be like, oh, I'm gonna give you, like, this is your goal. I'm gonna hand your goal over to you, and then all of a sudden switches.
Yeah, it was at that point. Like, I mean, it wasn't overnight that happened, but essentially, like my switch kind of clicked. But so it was at that point. I was looking to kind of really get ahead. I was working 2 jobs, so as what's called a trainer leader. I managed a group of trainers as well as my own clients.
Yeah.
And then after I was done my shift, I went and I worked commission sales in the evenings. So I get up at 4 a.m. I'd work a 8 to 10 hour shift as a trainer. I put in an hour workout, shower, suit up, put on the tie, roll, start my next shift at 4, go till 9, 10 at night, get home, rinse, wash, repeat. Basically, at my other job, I had lots of opportunities when there wasn't people in the store, that I was literally able to build my business plan on the computer there. So I was able to kind of work on kind of the dream I have now at the one job, continue to keep my skills sharp at the other job that I knew at that point wasn't going to provide what I wanted and kind of needed for me and my family. I did 2 jobs for 4 years before I was able to save up enough to kind of make that shot to do this. So yeah, it wasn't an overnight. It's just in my head. I knew where I was going immediately on that aspect, because the timeline they gave and everything and where they were going was going away from kind of the original goal intended that I was shooting for.
So you said something. You said, and it shows that just the clarity, right? You said that you knew where you were going and you were able to stick to it. Because I think I won't speak for everyone, but at least for myself, right? What I struggle with a lot of times is that I know what I want to do. I just don't know all the steps to get there. And because I don't have that clarity, even if I'm making progress, it doesn't feel like I'm making progress, because I don't know if I am. I need that clarity. How were you able? Even you said you made your 10-year plan, right? How were you able to make your plan and like follow it accurately? Was it like something that you just did a day at a time, or you had it just all planned out right away?
No, definitely things always adapt and adjust. When I looked at, okay, I want to own a business, what's the skill sets of a quality business owner? Again, and then I reversed engineered. I obviously need to be a good quality trainer. I need, a business management skills. I need to be able to manage employees. I need to know about budgeting. I need to know about, running a company, about client acquisition, about, all of these little aspects that go into running a business. Too many people jump into like, I want to own a gym because I like to work out. Cool, but they have nothing to do with each other. At no point in time does my gym run by me doing bicep curls, or squats. Like it physically has nothing to do with me running a quality business. Me doing quality interviews and making good relationships with trainers and clients, me being there from 5 a.m. till 6 p.m, running interviews and making sure my trainers get everything they need, and setting up our plans for next month to make sure that we have leads coming in for these trainers to grow and build their businesses if they're not generating enough leads on their own. These are skill sets that you look and say, okay, how do I acquire those? You know, sales, getting that commission sales job. If I don't make a sale, I don't earn a penny. It was a great hot fire job to push my sales skills. You know, doing bodybuilding prep, my first 5 or 6 clients I didn't charge a penny for because I just wanted to sharpen my skills. You know, I did it on myself. Let me see if I can repeat this on other people. You know, is it just a one-off that I just got lucky because I know myself, or can I kind of reproduce this regularly on others? And did they enjoy the process? So as I started to do these things, I just looked at, okay, what are the skill sets required for my end result? And where do I get these skill sets? And then kind of be open to those opportunities when they come. The first job as a personal trainer, the guy that owned the gym literally walked into the tanning salon that I was managing, handed a business card and say, hey, if you know any personal trainers that are looking for a job in the area, because you're a supplement store and place like that, just send them my way. I literally replied back, I'm a personal trainer. And then I met him and I got a job. And that led down this whole extra side of career path in the private training industry and stuff like that. So it's being open to those things. And then my buddy phoning me up saying, hey, come take my job. Well, it's time. She's done her diploma. We're ready probably to move maybe within the next year or so for sure.
Yeah.
That it was just taking, you know, being open to, again, the universe for providing what you need.
Yeah.
And, you know, being aware I could have turned all those down because I was making good money and I did enjoy the job I was doing at the time. But I knew where I wanted to go, that was a skill set I lacked, knowing how many people he managed and those aspects that it was an opportunity that I knew would have got me closer to my end goal and my end result. So I had to kind of jump on it, whether it was in my head pushing me forward or moving me back. Financially, it was moving us slightly back at the time, but experience-wise and getting back up here, it was the smarter move to make in the long run.
So the thing that you said at the very end, that you said that it was pushing you back a little bit financially, right? The one thing I remember you telling me at the gym was risk and reward. Right, so you have to weigh if the reward is more than the risk, right? So even though it might have been a risk in taking you back financially, the reward was better in that you in being able to get this opportunity to come in and really enhance your managerial skills and then really get you on the path to eventually owning your own facility. So that's risk and reward.
From everything you even said, like there was one thing I really noticed, like a trend, which was like the biggest thing was. And it falls back to, I think, Atomic Habit. I don't know, like, I've never heard the book before, Atomic Habits. So it falls back to the same idea where you give the example, which was like, if you're trying to be someone that, say, you want to be, let me use an example, you want to be jacked, you want to be ripped. Imagine yourself being that person. What's the daily habits that person's going to be doing? So it falls back to the same stuff where you said, oh, I want to be a business owner. Okay, what are the qualities this person has to have? Or if I want to be a photographer, like what are the qualities a person have to be a successful photographer? And like another thing you said, which I think I'm gonna
dropping
apply.
gems. Like I actually wish I wanted to write notes.
I
had a tendency to write notes. I'm like my hands
I'm
twitching a little bit.
This again.
Oh,
so,
definitely.
Which was when you said there's a difference between like what's it called, lifting bicep curls and actually running a gym. And then it makes me actually think in a different sense, which is like there's a difference between being a photographer and actually having a photography business.
100%.
Or there's a difference between being a person like this. Like now it actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because like it's good to have the skills, but like there's more to running a business than just having that skill.
Exactly.
There's tons of talent out there that just are hot messes in their business because they don't know how to charge, they don't know how to book appointments, they don't know how to balance their schedule. They just want to take photographs, train clients. Again, my ex-business partner, great trainer, great at training clients. I think that was one of the things he recognized is he did not enjoy any of the business stuff. He wanted to show up, kick ass with his clients, and walk out the door at the end like the other trainers in the building, where he had to mop floors, scrub toilets, lock up, do all the other things that he saw other people not doing and still earning as much money. That not everybody's built for it, right? It is a different aspect for the people that have the lease, the overhead, that are in charge of the brick and mortar aspect of it versus the employee or the other kind of businesses that are operating out that just come in and all they have to worry about is excelling with their clients.
Now,
No, man.
I honestly,
I'm still tempted to write notes.
So, like, I might be thinking of Whoa 360. It's still on the same page, but like from hearing you so far, like I can tell you have like a good knowledge about like running a business. And I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this podcast that actually have like questions you might want to ask. But like, what are like 3 to 5 tips you give someone that wants to start a business? Like you should like a step by step you can follow.
Yeah. You know, obviously be passionate about what you do because it will envelop you at least for a large time before maybe, you know, a lot of the business coaches will say like, you know, work on your business, not in your business. Well, most small businesses need to develop their business by being in it first before they can kind of deject themselves from it.
Yeah.
So plan to be in your business first and foremost because nobody's going to establish a better reputation for your business than you.
True.
You know, so that's huge. And then kind of run your numbers 100 times and then run them again and run a low end and run a high end. Because all the time we like to look at certain things as like the most optimistic, like a trainer. If I charge $80 an hour and I get 10 clients, that's, you know, that's $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
But you need 10 regular clients willing to pay you $80 a session.
Yeah.
How many people do you know that are willing to pay that? So then go, okay, well, maybe half my clients are paying $40 and half my clients are paying $80. Well, now here's more realistic earning.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, you got to plan for not just your optimum, because a lot of times, again, if you're getting a lease and you have overhead, you've got power, gas, hydro, you got toiletries, you've got lights to replace, you got all these other things. You don't, a lot of times people forget to add those expenses in.
Yeah.
They don't sound like much, but you can get nickel and dimed out of business pretty quickly if all you look at is, oh, my lease is XYZ and I earn ABC.
Yeah.
Look, I've got it covered, plus I got enough that I, you know, to live my life. And then these other repetitive little, you know, expenses tend to grind you down.
Yeah.
So really pay attention to your numbers and make sure that, like, you know, you're not just with your heads in the clouds on like the best case scenario.
Yeah.
You're better to build a business on the worst case scenario and then be pleasantly surprised than to build it on like the optimal, like this that could happen and then that not happen and just be, you know, out of business, which most people do.
So,
Gems are being dropped.
just saying that second one. So I do have a question. So if you say you build on the worst case scenario, like how do you still get that motivation to actually start the business? Because sometimes you build it up, you're looking at the numbers and like, damn,
It's discouraging.
this is discouraging. Like, so how do you?
That's why you have to be
yourself-
passionate about it, though.
That's true.
It's passion, and then, you know, hopefully your worst case numbers are still enough to get by. Because if your worst case numbers aren't enough to float, you probably shouldn't start the business.
Okay.
You know, like when you look at it, when I started raising the bar, just me and my partner with our clients alone paid for everything.
Oh, wow.
We didn't get, you know, just what we could earn through training. We didn't have trainers off the bat. It was enough to keep us afloat. We didn't take home a penny. But the business was alive with nothing else other than the two of us working our butts off, which means every trainer that we hired on that paid us rent was now money in our bank.
Yeah.
That's all we had to do is we can now keep a little of what we earned because that trainer was paying towards our overhead. The next one that comes on chips away at the overhead. So our worst case scenario is me and him work the rest of our lives to keep a business afloat.
Yeah.
You know, and the worst case scenario for that was we were in a 3-year lease.
Yeah.
That we'd run it for 3 years and then walk away.
Yeah.
You know, the best case scenario is every single extra client we added was money in the bank, and every single trainer we added was money in the bank, and any other passive income that we could come up with was now all money in the bank to generate revenue for our company and us in the long run.
Yeah.
So by building low, knowing it's your base,
Yeah.
it's not discouraging because you know this is the worst case scenario,
Okay.
right? If you build, you know, relatively high and fake it, that's discouraging. How do you keep going on when you realize you've padded your stats so bad it's actually impossible to reach the numbers that you've given? You know, that's discouraging because now you know, like, it's not viable.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the dating profile where you show up and you don't even recognize the person in the restaurant because they photoshopped the photo.
yeah.
They, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they ain't coming back from that, right? You know, it's a lot of business plans are that dating profile where they've literally padded their stats so much to kind of get the loan that once they start rolling, they're
fail.
flat and they fail because they weren't realistic on their numbers and their expectations, and and we've had lots of issues where some of our expectations were far too ambitious, I guess, in like acquiring trainers and keeping trainers and things like that. I mean, COVID has a lot to do with some stuff, but we made assumptions that more people would have that entrepreneurial mindset, and more people would be jumping in the fact to run and own their own companies because they had no ceiling. Where one of the things we've run into as a company is most people have that employee mindset. They want the safety net, even though they know the safety net will never provide them enough income to be happy, will never provide them the freedom to be happy. A lot of these companies are just giving them enough that they can pay their bills, and that's safety for them. The uncertainty of like, hey, you can earn 6 figures as a trainer here, or you can earn nothing. It all depends on you. They have nobody to blame at the end but themselves when they fail. And a lot of people like the scapegoat of, I had a bad manager. The gym, they wouldn't let me on the floor. They wouldn't let me do. Hey, you're free to do whatever you want in my gym.
True.
Your niche is your niche. Your
do
hours
what
are
you
your
gotta do.
hours. Here's your
It's
key.
your
It's
choice.
24-hour access. You can train whenever you
You
want.
wanna train,
The failure falls on them then, and a lot of people don't like that. Nowadays, you can't fail school. Everybody gets a ribbon. We're past that failure mentality. Everybody's afraid of it.
I have something, a really, really thing that I wanted to ask you. So to get to this point where you could even own your own facility and everything like that, right? It was a process. It didn't just happen overnight. It was a long process, right?
Yeah.
Along the way, 2 questions I have is, did you ever doubt yourself along the way?
Many
And
times.
what was your biggest struggle or obstacle that you faced, and how did you overcome it and learn from it?
So yeah, I there's doubt. Day in and day out, there's doubt. There still is right now, even with what's going on in the world. Is there a way forward? What am I? I see it in other trainers and other people coming in. There's skepticism, but
How do you deal with it?
how I deal with it is regret. Would you rather put all in and fail, or would I rather live the rest of my life regretting what if? That whether I sink or swim with this company, at the end of the day, I can say literally I've given everything I could. My blood, my sweat, my tears, every ounce of energy that I know, when the dust settles, that I know I've put it in. And you can't, just like sports, you lose the game, but if you've given everything you've got and they were just better, or the economics weren't the good time for it, you have nothing to blame. You could be proud of yourself in that moment that you put up the best fight you could. It's walking away from it, quitting, shying away from the struggle. I'm young still. I don't want to live the next 40 to 60 years of my life regretting giving up my dream and these opportunities, because it was uncomfortable. And I think that's a lot of what weight training teaches us. You get under that bar and you're wondering if you're going to come back up again. It's that discomfort of like, I don't know if I can, squat this, but when I go down, I'm going to find out. And if I push my hardest and I grit and I grind it and it doesn't come up, that's fine. That's why I got the spotter, or that's why I got the safeties. But at least I know I did it. It's not go down and dip out because it's uncomfortable. So I put that same mentality to business, and I try to put that same mentality to anything in life. I don't want to be, in the second half of my life or on my deathbed regretting a bunch of things, the what ifs and stuff. And I mean, there's so many obstacles that I overcame to kind of make this happen. Like I said, I'm from northern Saskatchewan. I don't come from money. My parents are absolutely amazing and help me anywhere they can. But it's not like I come flush from economics.
Yeah, not silver spoon.
Everything that I've done, I've worked for to acquire even a business loan. I had to scrape and figure out and like work the system in ways like that were like Rain Man doing equations. First struggle, doing the business plan. Second struggle, after the business plan looked good and we got approved by our advisor, was the loan aspect, having enough down. We had to take out lines of credit as we put in the offer for the place. The people at the bank missed the deadline. So then our landlords didn't even want us in because they don't know why.
Yeah.
They just assume we're not good for the money. But they missed the deadline on giving the money to the landlord, which cost us another $27,000 in penalties, which we then had to we just scraped enough to get in to start with. Now we had to come up with almost 30 more grand to still get in there. Once we got in there, we had 3 months free to build, and we were just an empty concrete bay. I'm going to tell you, if you're building something from scratch, I wound up being the general contractor of the company. I got the trades together. I did everything because we couldn't afford a general contractor. Well, let me tell you how hard it is to do permits and get permits and go to the city.
Oh, yeah.
That was an absolute nightmare. And permits were taking time, which put us back. And then one trade was behind several weeks, which put every other trade behind several weeks. So we got our facility in April. We didn't have a grand opening till October. So we were training people with like a hole in our concrete when the plumbers were putting in pipes. There was a pile of garbage in our back because we hadn't got a dumpster yet because we weren't officially even open. There was jackhammers going while I was training clients. All of those things, even our loan was a special loan. It's actually a government-based loan. So the way it works is our money was held by a lawyer. We would have to give them receipts, and then we'd get the money back. So I had to figure out a way to pay for stuff and get legitimate like quotes and receipts to then get the money from the lawyer. So I was loading like 20 grand on my credit card. Then I'd have to go to the lawyer with the receipts. They'd have to get the money brought over. Then I have to pay my maxed out credit card off to keep this going, kind of like the shell game underneath the cup with stuff. But we got it going. We got open. That was kind of the big first hurdle is, can we even open our doors, or are we going to be broke before we open? Just because, again, we're two trainers. My business partner lived in the basement with his parents still. It's not
crazy.
like I said, there wasn't money coming from either side from any special place. We got open, had a great first year. Things were going good. We got a contract with Alberta Baseball. We did the baseball camps, and it was the day before our final testing with the baseball players, COVID hit. We were doing good.
Jeez.
We were severely cash positive. Things were going great. And then we got shut down out of the blue. It was like, nah, this ain't going to happen. And then that was obviously the biggest obstacle there was,
remember that.
how does a gym that focuses on personal training now continue, right? We had a lot of money in the bank account at that point in time. So we felt comfortable and confident kind of rolling March, April, May. Got opened in June. But with the constant restrictions and stuff from capacities to what we can do, we're getting nickel and dimed everywhere. The government subsidies would cover portions, but really there's tons of bills that's still coming in, whether we're open or not, whether we're training or not. So that was a big one. Felt like our boat had a leak in it. That we're bailing, but like the water was coming in as fast as we could bail, right? Again, we knew the two of us, if we could keep our clients and train, we keep it afloat on our own. But we were at that point where we'd made a nice surplus and started paying ourselves to watch it just kind of disappear over a click and go like, all right, we're back to kind of, back in April there, where we're like just shuffling the cups again. Like, where can we pull for now and push for there and do for that? And then it was open and close, open and close. And like I said, every time we were open, our ship, because we had, 9 trainers then, it was a self-sustaining ship. It was just about, let's stay open. We just can't continue being closed because the leaks happen when we're closed. Because, all summer, we didn't charge any of our trainers for that first lockdown. From March to June, we didn't collect any rent. We didn't know what was going on. We looked after our people. Like, guys, we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on with you when we're coming back. Like, keep your money, pay your mortgages, pay your rent. Feed your families. We'll figure this out. That December lockdown, that's really, I guess, pushed my partner to that brink. And, when February opened, he didn't come back. So that was a big one, which just got resolved actually yesterday. on the separation from
Congrats.
the company and stuff like that, which is great. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, again, it comes down to that stress of being a business owner. Can you handle, you know,
The mental stress.
absolutely, absolutely.
Man,
It's
that's-
there's not a day where you're not putting out fires. There's not a day where you're not trying to make decisions that affect. You know, we got 14 trainers and a massage therapist out of the gym right now.
Yeah.
You know, the decisions I make affect 14 people's lives, with families, with mortgages, with
Yeah.
children, young children. That, you know, I'm not just looking out for my best interest, but I got to look out for all my employees too when I'm making these decisions.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, you know, being strong, pushing forward. One of the great quotes that I continue to find that helps me is, you know, there's a video where Tony Robbins talks about meeting Dick Cheney, and what, you know, he said that he lost the election due to lack of resources, and Tony laughed and told him to his face, "You didn't lose because of resources, you lost because of lack of resourcefulness." You know, I never had resources. We made you know, in paper standpoint, we never should have probably had a gym. Neither of us had the funds. We made it happen because we were resourceful. And that's something that keeps raising the bar going forward. Is I look at every opportunity when it comes, or roadblock when it comes up, on how do I get resourceful enough to surpass this. There's always an answer, and a lot of times it's never what you're thinking, but by being resourceful, for, again, like, I lost 50% of my company's generating income when my partner walked away. It was go back. I spent a week straight, like 10 hours a day, running numbers on how I was going to replace that income to keep the company going. And it was just resourcefulness on, you know, how do you do that? How many more people do I have to train to equal that? Or how do I replace that income somewhere else? That's where I really looked at expanding our trainer profile, increasing the amount of people out there, because, again, if I bring in 5 more trainers, that's passive income. I don't have to spend 5 more hours training people.
Yeah.
I give you opportunity now to build your business and run your money. And so I just shifted from the client focus to the trainers actually are raising the bar. The more I focus on building the trainer, the safer raising the bar is. You know, 15 to 20 trainers, raising the bar is crazy comfortable.
Yeah. Wow, that, man, you actually give me, like, I was getting like motivated. I was getting like motivated on the
Honestly,
thing.
because like that resourcefulness, like
It's like adaptability almost,
'cause,
pretty
like,
much.
that's where a lot of people, especially when you want to start a business, you make the excuse like, oh, I don't have enough money, oh, I don't have enough skill, oh, I don't have enough network. But like in your situation, like you didn't have all that, but you went out and you looked for it.
Yeah.
Down.
I love that, because the one thing actually I want to ask you again to just to make sure is, I think I know the answer, but at any point in that time, even during COVID and stuff, did you want to give up?
I didn't want to give up. There was times we thought it was inevitable. Just when you're closed for 6 weeks or 3 months straight, you're just like, well, how long is it? You know, I wrote a post about, you know, the hardest part that I had was feeling like I didn't have control. At all other times before COVID, any problem I have, I felt I had full control of. Like I said, I just had to be resourceful. There's a certain time when the government and Alberta Health are saying, you can't do this, you're not allowed to do that, this is off limits. The business plan, the model, everything like that is now off the table. My resourcefulness is now
It's gone.
to their
To their
narrow-minded
standards,
limits. So that was deflating, because I knew there were methods and ways, and like I said, when we're open, that the business is very successful. But when you're realizing, like, okay, I'm no longer driving this bus anymore, it's tough when you're in the passenger seat along for the ride, seeing it going over the cliff, to figure out methods and ways to hit the brakes on that, or to change the course enough that you can buy yourself some time. So again, it just wound up extremely lucky that it was just the right time that we got reopened each time to keep things moving. If they would have had longer lockdowns and things like that, I might not be telling this story. That there's a certain amount of you want to give up, but like I said, I realized, like, I'd rather fail than have regrets. Just because, if you're doomed to fail anyways, on that course, you got to make the charge.
Yeah.
If it's me and a bull, I know my chances of winning that fight are low, but sure as heck, I'm poking the eyes and I'm grabbing the nostril. I'm doing what I can, to win that battle. But like you said, you got to take those shots, right?
Yeah.
And high risk, high reward. No other choice. Your back's up against the wall. It's sink or swim. You quit or you keep going. The results might be the same in the long run, but like I said, in the end, I can look back.
And so that
And say like I gave it my all. I know there wasn't anything left on the table. There wasn't another resource I could go down and find, to do that. So.
I love that. I like literally I'm getting I was
getting
like so motivated, so kind of amped up just like listening to you, just because it really gave me, because even for what I want to do, I know Ori wants to start his own business. I want to start my own business, and just hearing that, like the biggest thing was like, even though you didn't have all the resources, you didn't have everything, you still started. You didn't let that hold you back, and that's like, that really gives me motivation. I'm like, oh man, even if I'm struggling to try and figure this thing out, I need to start and just do it, and I will figure things out, because like you said, I don't want to have the regret and saying like, oh man, I could have done it. I wish I did it, and I never started. I don't want to live with that regret. I'd rather try and say that I did it. And I feel like there's no such thing really as failure unless you don't learn from it. So if I learn from it, then even if it doesn't work out exactly like how I want it to, then I can always learn from it and maybe start another business or do something else, and I'll know better, So that, like, I really love that you talked about that, and it that's really what this whole podcast is about. It's like you getting this having this facility, having Raising the Bar training facility. It's like when people see that, they're like, oh yeah, he's doing well. He has Raising the Bar facility. He has this big facility. It's all these trainers and stuff, but they don't see all the struggles and all the obstacles that you had to go through. Like that was a whole list of obstacles and struggles.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot more
that maybe he can even go into, and people don't know that, right? But people think it's always just, oh, look at the end result, look at how he's doing so well, but you don't see all the struggles and obstacles that he went to, and he still persevered, was able to adapt to each circumstance, stay resourceful, and still push, irregardless of what was happening.
And I'm like, you give an answer. So, like in our last episode, like Carrie, remember when he said, like, if you started, like when you started, because he does music, it was like, don't, like, your friend can support you and stuff, but don't try and go for them. Because, like, wherever your clients, if they believe in you, they're going to stay. I remember when you were talking about, like, you started the gym. You had holes, you had garbage over there, but you were still training people. So people that actually believed in you were still actually there. So everything just like it falls in sync. So
damn, I'm actually so amped up on it.
The biggest one I think that actually really stuck to me was when you said the 10-year plan and then just doing the reverse
engineering.
People say you want to start a business, but you make, and especially the worst case scenario. Because I actually never really thought about that. I was just thinking about, okay, what do I need to do? How do I get this? But I never actually thought in the sense that, okay, what's the worst case scenario that can happen? Because, like, I just say, oh, the best. Okay, get like 10 clients, do 10 photo shoots or 15 photo shoots, and you're good. But I never thought about what if monthly, in a month, I just get one.
Yeah.
Or two.
How would you make it work?
Because, like, I think another thing is, like, you can think of the best, but my head, what I'm looking at is, what is the worst case scenario that I have to shoot in order to survive?
Exactly. And then how hard is that for 2 clients a month?
Exactly. So
right.
As soon as you said that was what just came into my head. Because I actually never really thought about that. I was like, oh, I need to do this number of people. But I never, now from just thinking, I'm like, okay, what's the worst that I need to shoot in order to survive? The same with anybody. Say you're doing makeup. Like, what's the lowest number of clients I need to do in order to pay everything, all my bills, whatever. So.
See, bro, this is actually similar to even what happened to us today, when you had to return a certain item, right? And I was like, but what if you couldn't return it?
That's true.
You would have to figure out with what you had.
True.
It's the same resources you would have to figure it out with what you had. It's the same kind of thing.
But
so
but still, it's a different.
It's a different scenario, but it's different still. But so oh man.
I do want to let the people on this, like people watching the video, is we even mentioned raising the bar, like.
Now it's your time. This is
talk about like
talk about everything about raising the bar. Oh, sorry. Go
Excited, yeah.
This is all you know.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, Raising the Bar, we are a private gym. Our design is for trainers to have a good, viable place to run and build their careers out of. So basically, I'm a space rental for 14 other trainers at the moment that all run their own separate companies out of my gym specifically. So I'm a personal trainer on the floor, as well as 14 other trainers. And that's all we do is personal training. So these are all absolutely grade A, amazing trainers that are top notch at their jobs that basically we help people get to any and every goal under the sun. We've got corrective exercise specialists, sports performance specialists, bodybuilding specialists, nutrition specialists, lifestyle coaches, massage therapists, strength and conditioning, like absolutely everything. So it's very eclectic on the floor, seeing so much different stuff going on. But anybody looking, for training or to improve mind, body, health, basically what we try and do is set you up with the person that's going to fit your goals, when you want to train, your personality, all of these things to give you that best basically service to kind of reach your goals.
And I 100% vouch for it because I don't even he didn't even, this wasn't even an option that was kind of created, but Shaun created an opportunity for me where I was able to have an internship with him at the gym, and he taught me in like I was there for maybe a month or two before COVID closed, before COVID kind of closed the gym. But I am not joking. I literally learned so much in that time, and I'm gonna have to go back. But I learned so much in that time, and it's like he doesn't have to, especially for a new trainer who is not really experienced with training lots of people and stuff like that. He doesn't have to share that information with me if he doesn't want to, but he never held back anything. He was willing to share all his wealth of knowledge. He has over 16 years of knowledge in personal training and just in various, in nutrition and phys ed, kinesiology,
in business,
and in business too. And he opened everything to me without holding back anything, And I have tons of respect for him because of that. And it's not just him only, but it's the quality of the trainers that he has in the facility, the quality of his facilities, always constantly updating, getting new gear, and different trainers. Like I haven't been to a gym that's they have someone who's a specialist in boxing, they have corrective exercises, they have someone who's doing lifestyle coaching, they have so many different varieties and styles of coaching that you wouldn't usually get in just a normal gym. So I vouch for it 100%, not just because he's our guest, but even before that, I vouch 100% for that. So
That's nice. So you guys, if you're ever a trainer,
we're gonna drop all the links and everything
for
for it.
Just get into fitness too. Like I recommend it. I recommend it.
100%. Where would people be able to find Raising the Bar training, or find you on Instagram, on LinkedIn? Any?
Yep. So our website's www.rtbtraining.ca. Our Facebook is Raising the Bar Training and Performance. Our Instagram is Raising the Bar Trainer. And LinkedIn is just my personal Shaun Smears through LinkedIn.
Okay. We will drop all those links in the bio. Like, I'm sorry, I'm getting so excited.
Sorry, so amped. So I still want one more conversation I want to have, because today I noticed you really went around it a lot, which is your wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like I'm not guessing. I know when like going through that struggle, not a lot of women are gonna stay. Let's be honest. So
talk to him, Maury. Talk to him.
Yeah.
Talk to him,
absolutely.
So my guess is not my guess, but what I want to know is like how did you like mentally? But I'm guessing when you were building up the business, you had your kids, like one or two.
Beginning of the business, we had 2.
Okay, 2.
Okay.
So how was your mind at that time, knowing that this could fail, and you had a kid and you had a wife to take care of?
I mean that's kind of part which keeps you going is you can't fail for them.
True.
And Ashley, my wife, is the backbone and the rock, the support.
Shout out to
like
Ashley.
you say, so many people just don't have that, and that's the support system from just her and all my family. my uncle and my cousin and my mom and dad and everybody that's around, local, all my friends in Edmonton and stuff like that, they honestly all believed that it was going to be successful, all supported me through the process, good times and the bad through COVID and stuff like that. They were all there, for me. And, failure wasn't really an option. I mean, it's there, but it ain't an option I'm taking.
I like that.
And it's the same for my wife. She knew, failure of this isn't the option. It's been our game plan, for the last 10 years. We had our 10-year wedding anniversary, this year, just in July here. So we've been together for 13 now. That it's been that running plan for a very, very long time, that this is what we're going to do. And she understood that everything I was doing was going towards that, and supported kind of me all along the way. So kind of knowing what's going on, we're both all in this.
Nice.
That we know, like I said, if it fails, I've got tons of skill set. I can turn around tomorrow and be successful doing this as a career at another gym, or just doing something else that also fills my bucket.
What you just said kind of gave me a different mindset towards another, which is like, you say you had different skill sets in the sense of, this is just my own take from it, in the sense of, you worked in sales, you had the skills. I'm guessing you worked in managerial position, you had those skills. So even if, which you didn't, even if it didn't work out, you still had that skill. But people don't actually see it that way. Just like, I got all these skills and it still failed. But they don't see if it doesn't work out. Like,
there's so many things
you can do. Yeah, like Akil mentioned earlier, like, even if I fail, there's still a lesson to learn from it. And all the stuff that I've learned over the last 3 years, you couldn't pack into a 7-year degree. Like, it's just insane. Like, you just can't learn this stuff in school. Like you said, there's more obstacles. Today, they're pulling open my the rubber floor for my gym to get to a drainage thing, because down the line somewhere there was a backup that they were snaking. I had random people in my gym ripping apart the gym to get into some access thing that was this stuff comes day in and day out, and you just got to roll with those punches.
Adaptability.
It's just one of those things. I know, I really admire and emulate, for example, like The Rock. He's very open and candid. Like, one of his biggest failures led to his biggest success. Washing out of the CFL, his whole YouTube channel, $7 production. He had $7 left in his pocket when he went home. All of those things I look at, and that kind of drives my fire, is knowing, he's $290 million, I think he's worth at this point. And, not that long ago, he had $7 in his pocket. So,
right now.
It's that grind, it's that work. And, one of the things that I think makes him so likable is he's genuine. He's not putting up a character. And that's, again, genuinely, I want to see people in my career set, succeed. So when I have a guy like Akil come and, ask for an internship, all I see is an opportunity to help somebody that I know is passionate about the industry I'm passionate about succeed. I do a disservice to him, the industry, and myself by ignoring that and just saying I don't have time, right? Oh no, go somewhere else. I feel that when you help people and you genuinely want to see them succeed, it's karma. Good things come back, right?
True.
If I'm trying, to keep him down and other gyms down and other trainers down, it's just bad karma, and it's not good energy for me. It's not good energy for my gym. I don't wish lack of success to other gyms. I wish success for all of our gyms, because we all know there's more than enough people to go around that need our help.
True.
That it's too many people believe that other people have to fail for them to succeed. And there's just more than enough to go around. I think the more I help for people, the better my industry will be. And I think the better my company will become too, because it'll be known as a quality place that people can go to get genuine help, whether it be a client or a trainer.
No, there was one thing you said that really made me trigger. I don't know, I can't remember who said it. I'll put up a quote right there. I think it was either Robert Kiyosaki or what's his name? or Gary V. I can't remember who said it, which is like there's two ways to build the biggest building in town. Either you rip the, I can't remember how he said it. Either you rip the other building down and break it down in the sense of like wishing them bad, or I think you just work your ass off and just build it from scratch. I can't remember how he said it. I have to find the quote. But
sounds like a Gary Vee
Yeah, I
thing.
think
Yeah,
I think it's
absolutely.
Gary
Because
Vee.
he's
I
all
think he
about
is.
pure positivity with everyone.
Yeah.
Success on all. Right? Yeah. You don't want to knock down that tall building. You want to build
yours.
past it. Right?
Yeah,
Build
yeah.
your own.
I like that.
I have one question before I had you to the main question, but one question that I have is from training clients, right? Is there something that you've learned from training your clients that applies to fatherhood?
That's a good one, actually.
That's great. I think just awareness, like I said, being present, being aware, and sometimes I'm coaching the client, sometimes the client's coaching me. Many times, my clients stick with me long term because I'm just not doing what I believe is right for them. I'm finding what they want as well. And often as we parent, too often, I think we try and parent by pushing what we believe the kid should. And sometimes you have to just ask, like, what do you want today? What's your perfect day today? What would you like to do, instead of like us thinking we know better?
Yeah.
Too often, again, 16 years of knowledge and degrees and diplomas. If I do something that a client hates every day, for example, I've got a 7-year-old client. You got to meet her, Judy. She's an absolute gem of a human.
Yeah.
If I make her push a sled, she will leave and not come back.
Yeah.
Because a trainer in the past has made her push a sled really heavy and it gave her anxiety. I know it would be super useful for her, especially for her legs, because she struggles squatting. But I know it's something that if I do, it's not going to have a positive end result on our relationship, her results, because she's going to leave. Just like the kids, sometimes you think it's a nice, beautiful day. Let's go out. Let's do a bunch of stuff. Sometimes they just want to sit on the couch and hang out with you. True. It's one of those things where give them a little control, and I think they appreciate that. Both clients, both kids, because then they know they're being listened to, they're being heard, in those sense that it goes a long way on creating a relationship, not a I'm the boss. This is how I don't train like a drill sergeant, and I don't parent like a drill sergeant. Sometimes you got to put the foot down on both clients and children. But I believe it's that give and take on each, and I think that's a huge aspect. Sometimes you have to listen to them instead of telling them what to do.
Everything to do.
I really like that. I'm gonna take that into consideration. Oh man, you're lucky I don't have my notebook. It's close by, but
Don't worry. The good thing is we can always watch this back.
Oh, 100%.
Replay.
So, Ori, what question are we probably gonna ask right now?
Do you want to ask the what's called? Would you rather?
No, before that one.
Before that one, theory of that one.
Theory of the grind.
So, I feel like I know the answer already. Honestly, wow. I already know. I think so. Well, the people want to know, what is your theory of the grind?
Honestly, I think the theory of the grind is, when it comes down to it, when you're pushing, when things honestly seem like they're stacked up against you, is are you going to have regrets? Push through, sink or swim, succeed or fail. If you don't grind, you already know the answer. You either push for what you want, or you settle for nothing less than failure. And that's one of those things. If I ever fail, it's at least, like I said many times, at least I know I've given it all I can. I think that's my grind. Is just knowing I've left it all out on the table. Each and every time that a problem arises.
For sure.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I don't think you're gonna fail, because any business that actually pushed through COVID, I'm sorry, I don't think you're gonna fail.
making money, actually,
because like with COVID, I know that a lot of business gone forever.
Yeah.
So the fact that the business is standing good, I'm sorry, like, I don't see it happening. I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
No, thanks. We're doing good right now. We're doing well.
Yes, sir.
Like I said, we're grinding away. There's always new obstacles every day, but I mean, we're back into, like I said, obstacles I can control, obstacles that I feel like I can manage and work with, not obstacles that are where I'm sitting in the passenger seat. So
nice.
and the biggest thing that I think that actually allows you to handle all these obstacles that come your way is your mindset, that your approach towards them, right? Because some people, they see an obstacle and they're like, oh man, like, this again, but the way that you're approaching, you're like, okay, now this obstacle came here, how can I work my way around it? So I think that your mindset towards it is what makes a lot of things happen too,
Nice.
So now we have a little fun portion of our podcast. This is called the Would You Rather section. So the would you rather question that I have for you today is, would you rather spend 5 years in jail or be in a coma for a decade?
I'd take the 5 years in jail.
5 years in jail. This is maximum security prison, though.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, it's, you know what? I'm certain I could learn a lot of lessons in 5 years where I don't think 10 years in a coma you learn anything. I don't know.
True.
That's very true. Yeah.
I don't think it would be a good time, but I mean, you can come out with a lot, a lot of lessons to be learned in 5 years in a max security
Prison.
I might regret that one, but I mean, that's a
better option.
at least, like I can talk to my wife, see my children.
Work out.
So work
I can
out.
work,
You'll probably get big in
work
there.
on a prison program.
Yeah. You
Sell
can
that
start,
to all the inmates,
you can
right?
start training the inmates and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Just again, resourcefulness,
So it's
right?
resourcefulness.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, okay. I really like that. Well, man, it was a pleasure,
Oh, 100%.
pleasure
I'm not
to
gonna
have
lie.
you
Thanks
on
for
the
having me on,
podcast.
guys.
So much.
All
Like,
the-
I'm going to go home and watch this and write
honestly,
notes.
All of it, like, just
Like-
talking to you alone is
Like,
like, I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of questions that was had in my head, literally, like, without me
Answer.
even asking, like, you gave the answer. So, nah.
Like literally, while I was listening to you even talk about the obstacles and the struggles that you face, and you still started and you still went regardless, like, I'm getting so motivated and amped up, So I think this is a great episode for listeners out there who are just want to know either about physical fitness, either they want to know about starting a business, they want to know where they should go train, which is Raising the Bar training
Yes, sir.
facility, right?
Yes,
You
sir.
should know, like, there's just so many gems in this.
There's
There's just so many gems.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so many.
I do have one more question though. Do you sell merch?
We do have some. Yes,
Let's go.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yo, do you have a website where we can go and buy, or?
No, it's just in house on the merch yet. I don't have like an online store.
Okay.
But yeah, we definitely have some merch in there, from some hats to hoodies and tees and tanks and
I
stuff
say
like
less.
Okay, so you guys know that you need to buy some merch. Buy some merch. Well, for listeners out there, please comment, like, subscribe,
Hey,
share, comment, like.
listen. If you don't like it, if you click the dislike, please give us a reason.
Yeah, just give us a reason.
Listen, I'm bringing my.
Come on.
We should be at least 2 comments saying what you didn't like.
What you didn't like.
How we gonna get
listen,
better?
Listen,
Come on.
I'm bringing my African Nigerian side. I'm begging you.
I beg you.
Constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism is key.
It's
We
key.
need that.
That's how you grow.
But like we said, we're getting 1% better. I definitely know we got 1% better today,
Oh,
just from all the
100%.
gems and all the knowledge that Shaun was able to share. It was a pleasure having you.
100%.
And you guys know what to do. Like, comment, share. Island Theory.
Oh my God, this guy again.